All right, everybody, I think it's about time. I just got my gold badge on Dodrio. We have this new beautiful piece of hollowware. This is the ultimate guide to my favorite Pokemon in Pokemon Unite, Dodrio. Yeehaw, let's do this. In this video, I'm going to talk about held items, boost emblems, every move, how they all work, how to play this Pokemon, and how to dominate with Dodrio. I'm going to try to give you every tip and trick I know about this Pokemon. I hope you enjoy this ultimate guide. I'll be going through all of that, and then I will be bringing you into matches with multiple builds. Enjoy, everybody. Here we go. All right, let's start with your first move for Dodrio when you're just a little Duo right here, and that is Peck. Peck has two versions of it. A lot of things in Dodrio's kit have two versions of it based on your sprint gauge, which I guess we should talk about right now. By running around a little bit, doesn't matter what direction you're going, your sprint gauge fills up. When you stop moving, your sprint gauge ends up lowering. This is why stuns and things like that are so powerful against Dodrio. When your sprint gauge is full, you have a boosted attack available. You charge like that. And when your sprint gauge is full, your moves will change, like Peck. So Peck, you will kind of dash forward, very similar to your boosted actually. And then quick attack will stay the exact same. So quick attack makes no difference whether or not you have a full sprint gauge. In fact, you'll often use quick attack to increase your sprint gauge. There are more interactions with this that we'll talk about soon, but managing your sprint gauge and managing your boosted attacks are so important for this Pokemon. This is kind of the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes, the food and other food of Dodrio. I had to get a third one in there for the three heads. So let's talk about Peck really quick. If you're not moving, Peck is going to do some damage, like so. And by not moving, I mean not having your sprint gauge full. Boom, 498 damage right now. It'll also get my Razor Claw to proc. I'll talk more about that item in a moment. I think it's almost a must for Dodrio. If you have a full sprint gauge, however, this does 831 damage on the substitute doll right here. This is your big secure tool when you're in path or lane early. So when you're fighting an enemy, you're going to want to make sure that you have your Peck available so that you can get that last hit and deal some damage. Obviously, you're going to need to start to know your thresholds. A full health, bunny right there, that's not going to help you at all. But if you have your Peck ready, its HP's low, you follow right up with an auto attack, you can usually secure a lot. In fact, you're often going to secure with Peck without even the auto attack afterwards. You're just going to let them kind of do the work, and then you're sort of hanging out around a situation, waiting for your opportunity to jump in and get a big secure. That's what you're looking to do a lot with Dodrio early, especially if you're in lane. Now, a lot of the time you're going to play this in the central area, so you're not going to have to worry too much about this, but it actually plays really well in lane also. You just need to manage your sprint gauge and let your opponents do some work for you so that you can be the one to jump in and get that last hit. Okay, that's Peck. Let's talk about quick attack. For me, quick attack is often an escape tool. It's a sometimes last hit opportunity, and it's to refill your sprint gauge. So let's say you go to your opponent's goal zone, you score, right? Here, after you score, you have 0 sprint gauge. Quick attack can change this pretty fast. You will sprint out and you actually increase your move speed, and that little burst you get gives you a huge amount of your sprint gauge. So I often use quick attack for that. An interesting feature of quick attack is that if you hit something with it, you'll see the cooldown gets reduced even greater than what it normally is. So hitting something with your quick attack can be really advantageous. And I'll show you how I kind of walk through, your jungle rotation, that central area here as well. But I just wanted to show you those first two moves. You'll have quick attack longer than you're going to have Peck, and I still use it for kind of the same situation. I'm moving in, I'm fighting. When I need an extra burst of sprint gauge, I use my quick attack and then right back in and fight. I'll talk more about the flow of Dodrio here in a minute, but I just want to go over all the moves. Once you hit level 5, you have a choice between Try Attack and Drill Peck. Both are great on Dodrio. I don't think you need to have one as your exclusive playstyle. Let's talk about each of them. So, Try Attack. Just like your other first move, Peck, and Drill Peck as well, your sprint gauge will change the effect of Try Attack. If you have no sprint gauge and you're attacking close to you, it attacks sort of in this fan, this little cone in front of you, and it will hit your opponents. It hits your opponents with one of 3 sort of debuffs, which you can't really worry about too much. It's not like you can control how you're hitting people with Try Attack, but I will go over them real briefly right here. Your Try Attack will either apply Burn, Paralyze, Paralyze, or Freeze. This is compliments of Unite DB right here. When the sprint gauge is full, you shoot 3 projectiles, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But the Burn, Paralyze, and Freeze when your sprint gauge is not up is completely random, it seems like. Right there, I just got the burn effect. Let's see which one I get this time. I think I got Paralyzed that time. And that time I might have got paralyzed again, but you get it. You don't get to choose what it is you get. So with Burn, they have an 8% decrease in their attack for 2 seconds, a 12% attack decrease if it's an empowered move by Sprint. With Paralyze, they have an attack speed decrease of 8% or 10%. And then with Freeze, they have a move speed decrease for 2 seconds, which is 20% or 40% if empowered. There's a lot of information there, but really there's not much you can do about it. Like, even with your empowered through your sprint gauge tri-attack, where you can kind of decide how they hit right here, you don't know which one's gonna fly out. It's a cool little effect, but there's nothing you really need to know about it, because you essentially have no control over what you're going to hit an opponent with. It's interesting to see, and sometimes you'll notice, like, oh, I hit him with Burn. They've got, you know, that little burn effect on them. Or, oh, I hit him with, like, look at this Lapras Unite move. Like, oh, I hit him with Freeze. They're a little slowed right there. So it's the first one that hits is the one that gives it to them right there. So we've hit Burn like 3 or 4 times on this Lapras. Let's see what we get this time. That was Paralyzed right there. So you get it. You don't get to choose what that is. It's just a cool little extra effect that Tri-Attack applies. Okay, so let's talk about when you want to use your sprint gauge boosted Tri-Attack and when you want to use the other Tri-Attack, right? The cone Tri-Attack. I think outside of clearing farm and hitting an enemy when you just don't have any sprint gauge but you need to hit them, you really want to make sure that you have your move empowered there pretty much all the time. So I would say when you're kind of near this farm, there are opportunities where you just want to fan out and hit them like this. It's nice. It's a little effect, but in general, I would want to make sure that I have my empowered boosted so that I can move in and do a lot of damage. Something Tri-Attack also does is it will heal Dodrio on the next auto attack right here. So whether you're in the sprint gauge or not, if you hit with Tri-Attack and then you hit your auto, you see that healing right there, 284. That healing is directly related to me hitting that Tri-Attack. So when you're weaving in and out of a fight, you'll be able to heal yourself as you are fighting. And oftentimes with Tri-Attack, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be setting up your Tri-Attack boosted with your sprint gauge, and then you're going to be moving in for a big burst of damage. So you're moving in with your Tri-Attack, boom, huge burst of damage right there. Between your Razor Claw and your boosted damage and your Tri-Attack right there, you're putting a ton of damage on your opponent in a very short amount of time. You're kind of chasing them down. There are times where you could also just continue autoing near them, but a lot of the time you're going to move in, you're going to fight a little bit, you're going to let your sprint gauge charge back up, and then you're going to come back. Your second move is going to help a lot with this, but the basic idea is that you're moving in and then you're hitting that big boosted. Your boosted attacks with Dodrio, and this is probably a good time to talk about it, are insanely important, and Tri-Attack lets you hit boosteds all the time essentially, because you're coming in from outside, you're hitting the Tri, and then you are jumping in with that big boosted. It is going to reduce the cooldowns of your moves. This is huge. Let's take a look at agility right here. I use agility, it has 11 seconds. Every time I'm hitting a boosted, I'm shaving a second off of agility. This is true for any of your moves. You're shaving time off your moves by hitting your boosted attacks. When your sprint gauge is full and you auto attack, you're getting that big boosted and it's lowering the cooldowns of your moves. This is everything for Dodrio. Managing your sprint gauge and managing your boosteds are the entirety of how you are going to win with this Pokemon. At level 11, Tri-Attack gets a cooldown reduction, and you recover more HP when you hit with it right there. So you can see I'm recovering 340 some HP after I hit with Tri-Attack right there. Yeah, 340 something as I'm jumping on in. So it's actually popping up twice because it's an additional 3%, which is essentially 10% of your HP that's coming back right here. And it comes up in kind of 2 little bursts right there. This is actually why some people prefer running something like Eos Cookie on Dodrio, because the more max health, the more you recover when you're fighting like this. But that's a conversation we can talk about a little later in the video when we talk about items. In general, you're using Tri-Attack, you're weaving in and out of fights, you're especially focusing on their weak attacker Pokemon or weak speedster like Pokemon, and you're just getting those big boosteds and moving on. The more boosteds you hit, the better your cooldown reduction is going to be on your moves, and you're just going to be able to continue weaving in and out of combat. You can play Tri-Attack with agility or jump kick. I will be talking about those moves here in a sec. First, let's talk about Drill Peck. So, just like Tri-Attack, you can use Drill Peck without a full sprint gauge. It does some damage right there. Right now, it's 1,017 damage. Not too bad, but a fully charged sprint gauge in Drill Peck will drag enemies. It will push them where you need them to go, bring them into your team, pull farm away from the enemy, and do more damage, as you can see right here. Now, that did 10,000 damage. That's not accurate. What that actually is just the fact that this substitute doll has an insane amount of HP. This is going to do 3% max HP damage, which is why Drill Peck can be used really effectively, of course, into squishy Pokemon, but it also works pretty good into tanks. Oh, you silly Lapras. Where are you going? Where are you going? All right, he's got to go somewhere. But it works really well into tanks because they have a large amount of max HP, right? Tanks, supports, stuff like that. And of course, it hits multiple enemies. You might be thinking, how is Tri-Attack even comparable to Drill Peck? I mean, look at the amount of chaos that ensues from Drill Peck. But at the same time, it's more direct damage and it's more assassin-y. Drill Peck has definitely an assassin feel, but you're doing team-wide damage sometimes, and you can see it's actually pretty good for, you know, farming up an objective like this too. It's just a really solid move that has a lot of interesting uses. One I think people don't realize is how you can drag things pretty easily the direction you want to go. I think a lot of people run into a fight and they just try to Drill Peck. So you run in towards a substitute doll like this, and this is your opponent, and you're just moving, you Drill Peck, you're now pushing this towards maybe the entire enemy team right here. You've kind of jumped in and you're in trouble. Now, of course, there are a lot of things that you can do in that situation. You might be jumping in, jump kick out, back towards your team. There's tons of ways to outplay with Dodrio. But one thing that you can do is you can move this substitute doll, your opponent, really in any direction you want by just banking hard right before you throw Drill Peck. So you can run to the enemy and then bank hard. You can send it right back towards your team. Just whoop, whip your stick around and fire it any direction you want to go. You could be moving in and your team is like down to the bottom there and you're like, oh, okay, I just want to pull it right there. You also could do the same thing where you decide that, oh, you actually want to pull it back this way towards the enemies because you're going to make a play. You pull it here and then boom, right towards the enemies. Right at the end of, like, before you cast Drill Peck, before you use your move, you can pull it in any direction you want. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, but that's how you can set up, you know, situations where you steal all of the center farm from your opponents, just like a Garchomp would. You can do that exact same thing. I think a lot of players don't realize that you can change the direction of it, basically turning on a dime right there. Let me just show you what I mean real quick. This fight, you know, at 8 minutes 50 seconds, if you come up here with your Drill Peck, you move through these bushes right here, you move up here, a lot of people will just Drill Peck into the enemy, which might not be a bad situation, right? Because there could be a really good reason you just want to Drill Peck into them. But you also can run into this fight and then just immediately pull it right back towards your side. Get all of that farm towards your team so that your team can secure it. Level 11 on Drill Peck will give you some HP recovery on it. You can see that right there on Lapras, which is really nice. It will also lower the cooldown of Drill Peck. I think Dodrio is one of, not a unique speedster in this sense, but Dodrio is really interesting because the higher level you get, its moves just get so much better as you are going. They're so incredibly good. So you get that HP recovery. It works on wild Pokemon. It works on enemy Pokemon. Something that I often do in some of the bigger fights, you know, when I've kind of gotten burst down, maybe I've KO'd someone, but I need to get my HP back, right? I'm fighting around Rayquaza. I will just peel off towards these Altaria. You just kind of plow into them with one big Drill Peck right there and just look at all that HP recovery. Not a single Altaria even went down, which also, of course, heals you for being a wild Pokemon KO, but so much of your HP gauge recovers because of Drill Peck Plus. So it's a really nice bonus that you get at level 11 for this move. I think that's about everything you need to know for Drill Peck. In general, there are so many good ways to use it. I'll talk about comboing it with its Unite move here in a minute, because I think that's also quite important. But Drill Peck really is not only good at just shredding and dealing damage, but also great at positioning your opponents, bringing them towards your team and setting up opportunities for your team to just rip them to shreds. All right, let's talk about your next two move options, Agility and Jump Kick. Agility is more often paired with Tri-Attack, and it's a little difficult to use it effectively with Drill Peck, even though you could. We're going to talk about Agility first right here. So Agility is basically a get out of jail free card and a full sprint gauge recovery. It doesn't work as a full sprint gauge recovery the second you get it, but it's almost full, and you can see how fast your sprint gauge charges without it. You quickly basically cleanse. So let's see, do you have your, yeah, let me get you a couple levels here, Lapras. I want you to hit me with a bubble beam. And you can see that inside of a bubble beam, you are going to be able to cleanse it right away with Agility. It's a full heal on cooldown. Originally, this was kind of the most busted thing in Dodrio's kit, Tri-Attack Agility, and I think they've nerfed it a couple times, but it's still extremely effective. Not only does it give you a cleanse, it also recovers a huge amount of your sprint gauge, which sets up more boosteds and more empowered, you know, sprint gauge effects. Those empowered boosteds obviously are going to lower the cooldown of Agility, lower the cooldown of Tri-Attack, or lower the cooldown of Drill Peck, so that you are able to do a ton of damage right here. It's really nice for enemies that have a ton of crowd control effects. So if I'm running up against an opposing team that I just feel like is going to stun me constantly, there are times where I go, all right, I'm going to run Tri-Attack Agility right here, because I just want to make sure that I have not only my full heal, but also another move that cleanses. Its upgrade at 13 is a full sprint gauge increase. So unlike before where it's like a boost right there with a nice move speed, this is a full sprint gauge increase. So you can literally boost it right away. So this is going to set up a lot of opportunities to do a ton of damage to your opponents right after you cleanse. It's really powerful, and you're able to just jump in, continue fighting, boosted right away, pull out, boosted right away, pull out, boosted right away. You have a large move speed increase with it, a really nice hindrance, like, again, like full heal on cooldown, and then it's boosted, boosted, boosted. You can see how often you're able to make it happen too. You have a large amount of time where you're moving really fast and charging sprint gauge really quick. So you'll go ahead and Tri-Attack into boosted, Agility, boosted, Agility, boosted, Agility, boosted, Tri-Attack, boosted, Tri-Attack, boosted. And before you know it, your Agility is back. This is, I don't think, the most common Dodrio build anymore, but for a little while after Drill Peck was nerfed, this was really, really popular. I'd still say it's very, very strong, and it's really nice to have just something that resets your sprint gauge easily that doesn't require you fighting. I think there's a really great option to play Tri-Attack with Jump Kick as well. That's what I more often play, because you're just able to get more damage and stun your opponents more, but this is a great, you know, option if you're just trying to chase a Lapras. Come here and just hit me, buddy. If you're just trying to chase a Lapras and then make sure that you can move back in and continue fighting here in a sec. It's really strong, really nice recovery of your sprint gauge, and a really nice cleanse for Dodrio. As I said, you can use this with Drill Peck. It's a little less common, but you are able to Drill Peck, move into a boosted, and then kind of hit another Drill Peck right away. This is a very rare build, I would say, and I think Jump Kick just seems to combo a little bit better with it. But it's not impossible to run something like this, because it gives you a quick boosted. It will get you out of any, you know, stuns or something like that, and then you could set up another Drill Peck. Although, again, I do think Jump Kick combos better. All right, so let's talk about Jump Kick. Jump Kick is really interesting because it is something you can use on opponents, but you can also use it just on the environment. There are lots of outplays that you can make with Jump Kick. So Jump Kick does not require a sprint gauge to be full. What it does is it will leap towards an opponent or towards an obstacle and just give you a little dash right here. So you can see it right here. I jump, and there you go. You have like a 7-second cooldown. If you hit an opponent you get a cooldown reduction. So it does work off obstacles, like you could bounce and move, but you do not get a cooldown reduction from that, right? You get a cooldown reduction, of course, from your boosted attacks, and you get a cooldown reduction on jump kick when you hit an opponent. So boom, you hit that, 3 seconds gets knocked off jump kick. That is massive. You want to use this to fight if at all possible. However, you're running from opponents, you're trying to get away. Oftentimes something you can do is kind of bank in a situation they don't expect. They're chasing you here in the ray pit, you bounce off this, you head down here boosted, and then you kind of run away. You can use your boosted to get out of situations like that, and jump kick can help enable it. It also goes over walls, so if you're in the enemy central area, which you could be a lot with Dodrio, they're coming in here, they're trying to push you out, you're able to just boost it over this wall if you want, or at the same time you could jump kick right over this wall into a boosted, giving you that extra speed to just get away from opponents. Again, using it in combat is the most effective because you're able to reset its cooldown crazy fast. Let me show you the combination here with tri-attack and jump kick. You move in, you hit with your tri-attack, you bounce, and then you can... This Lapras, dude. Hold on. Where are you going? So the combo that you're going to want to try to use with tri-attack is moving in with tri-attack into your boosted into a jump kick, right? And you can bounce off. You can see how fast your sprint gauge recovers because jump kick recovers a huge amount of your sprint gauge. And if you use this combo right, you'll move in, tri-attack boosted, jump kick boosted, and then do it all over again. So it's like boom, 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 and then all of a sudden you've got your jump kick back. You can jump in again and set that combo up. By that time, most every Pokemon in the game are KO'd, but that's the combo you're looking for right there. You want to use your boosteds around your jump kicks so that you are able to like recover an insane amount of cooldown on it. Actually works pretty well in objectives like this too, even though it's not an enemy, you are able to get the cooldown reduction, it being a wild Pokemon here. So you can see how I just bounce around, I'm using my boosteds, I bounce around, boosted into the tri-attack, I bounce around, boosted in the tri-attack, over and over and over again. That's the flow of the battle when you're playing jump kick tri-attack. And it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Jump kick also gives your opponents kind of this brief stun that you'll see because you're kicking them in the head. Lapras. Lapras. Come back! I'm making a video, dude. So you get that brief stun at the start of jump kick. I just want to show you jump kick plus here really quick. So you get that brief stun, and then you stun on landing too, which is, an easy way to kind of jump in and hit your opponents with a stun also. So if your opponents are kind of coming into this fight, you can like jump kick back into them and set up a nice little stun right there. And it combos really well, obviously, with your Unite move moving in, and then you get a knock up, and then a stun, and then a knock up, and a stun. And it's one of the other annoying things that Dodrio does. It feels like it does a lot of annoying things. And that stun on jump kick, especially jump kick plus, is super annoying. All right, so we've talked a lot about tri-attack jump kick, which is a great combination. Let's talk about drill peck jump kick. This is the most common build for drill peck. Again, you can pull your opponents with drill peck and then sort of immediately set up an opportunity to hit them with jump kick. You can go right into jump kick, but given that I run Razor Claw, I often, not always, it depends on what's going on with my enemies, but I will often move in with drill peck right into my boosted right there and then bounce off with jump kick. I think that's usually your best play. You can also use jump kick to kind of reposition it. Now, the boosteds that you hit after jump kick are what is going to set up a great reset on your drill peck. So you hit with drill peck, you see the cooldown right there. You then bounce off with jump kick, move back in with a boosted, and both of your moves are back up. They combo really well with this timing. So you just kind of bounce in, off, right back to a boosted. You can even jump kick again if you want, and then set up your drill peck right there. Once you're a higher level and you have the cooldown reduction increases for jump kick and drill peck, this combo is even easier. Just moving in, boom, hit, bounce off, into a boosted. They're both right back, boom, boom, boom. And rinse, repeat. Just insane amounts of combos with these two moves together. Because jump kick almost entirely fills your sprint gauge, it's not full, but it's basically full right there. You can set up a kind of an immediate drill peck with it, which is really, really amazing. So you just kind of bounce in. You could even bounce in with a boosted if you want. You don't need to do this, but you could bounce in with a boosted if you kind of want to just reposition yourself. You bounce in with a boosted, and then you decide when you're going to jump kick. You get your sprint gauge, and then boom, move right into a big drill peck. I would probably start, if you could, just with a drill peck, dragging your opponent, then into the jump kick, then right back into that boosted, because then you'll set up another easy drill peck. This is kind of that crazy combo that you're going to see near the end of a game when you just absolutely level an entire enemy team with drill peck and your unite move and jump kick, right? It's really, really strong if you can get that combo going. So let's talk about that combo. There are a few ways to do it. Your unite move is pretty strong. You can cast it out. It's called triple trample, and it has a pretty large cast range right here with some really interesting like effects. Depending on how you cast it, you could run yourself into a weird spot. You could run yourself into like Snorlax's block, and you're just kind of like being pushed against Snorlax's block over and over and over again. There's some really weird interactions with it. But in general, the way you want to use this, in my opinion, is you want to use this with a direct line, knowing exactly what you're looking for and knocking up as many enemy Pokemon as you can. This will increase your attack. It will also give you like faster sprint gauge charge, but most importantly, this gives a really great knockup. It's a huge setup tool for Dodrio. So you move in towards a fight, you see what your like kind of opponents are right here, and oftentimes you could even drill peck in. Oh, Lapras doing his unite. This Lapras dude. I picked the worst practice partner for this video. Where are you going? Come back. I'm trying to show the people something. What you can do with this, you can start with a drill peck if you want. You know, you can start with that drill peck into a boosted, and then boom, right next to you, unite. If there's an enemy right next to you and you pop that unite, you can just knock them up right there, set up a drill peck, easy KOs, right? You also can sort of set up a line and then move that into your drill peck, right? You have increased attack damage when this happens. So let's say my enemies are kind of like right here. I see them. I'm moving in, like someone on my team, my Trevenant hits a wood hammer, and then I'm like, all right, it's go time. We go in, we boosted, we then move in with this. We use our full sprint gauge drill peck, in, out, in, out, in, out of the fight. Drill peck, drill peck, drill peck. I have my cooldowns off right now, but honestly, that's about the timing of what it is in a situation like that. So you don't often want to use it for like throw it and hope I steal Rayquaza. That's not really going to work. But what you can do is KO multiple members of the enemy team. And if you can set up a situation where, you know, usually in a choke down here like this, you'll have multiple opponents. So if you're playing Dodrio and you're being sneaky, you know, you're over here near Ray, you're looking for Guardy or something like that. You're hoping someone kind of walks out like this Bumblebee and you can just catch him and bring him back towards your squad. If you're waiting for this fight, you're seeing your team, you're seeing they're fighting in this choke, you can just move up and then like set this up. Boom, you hit 3 of them right into your drill peck, right into your jump kick, right into your boosted, right into your drill peck, just like that. And you've leveled the entire enemy team. That is 99% what you want to be doing with your Unite move, is setting up opportunities like that where you are just able to rip through the enemy team and make sure that, you know, no matter how many of them or how tanky they are going to be going down to this like crazy good combo right here. So again, you can use it like that if you wanted to. You could use your Unite, you know, after you hit a drill peck as sort of a way to continue the fight and, you know, KO something. A reason that works pretty well, I would say, is because you've already done a lot of damage, especially if they're a squishy Pokemon. So if I see a Greninja on the enemy team or something like that, I can kind of confidently know that if I start with my drill peck right into my Unite, that was a weird auto target. If I start with my drill peck right into my Unite move, they're probably going down. At worst, what I'm going to have to do in a situation like that is just auto targets this substitute tool. At worst, what I'm going to have to do in that situation is maybe just double back with a quick little boosted attack, right? So you move in, you hit it, and then quick boosted, and then they go down. You could do that, although a lot of people you'll see use their Dodrio Unite as kind of like the engage tool. Again, you could do it either way. You could move in, you could start with a drill peck, then boom, right into your Unite move, right into a boosted, right into a jump kick, right into a drill peck. You can do it either way. It really depends on kind of the texture of the fight. Sometimes you just want to see like, oh, there's like 2 of them right here. someone on my team, they're engaging with them, I know they're not going to be able to get out of the way, I just move right in, I knock them up, I hit them with a drill peck, and then it's kind of lights out. That's how you're going to be playing a lot of your final fights and just a lot of your fights in general after you have Dodrio's Unite move. It works pretty well also with Tri-Attack, but you don't get that crazy like penta burst with it, right? I feel like this setup is just like set up for penta KOs near the end of the game, and I think that's why most people play it. However, you could still run a really cool, you know, situation with your Unite move and agility as well. So if you're looking to fight, you don't really need to use your agility outside of using it to like give you a free get out of jail on a stun, right? So you use it right there to get out, and then you can just boom, Unite into a boosted, into a boosted, into a boosted, into a boosted. Like, it's just Tri-Attack at full sprint gauge into another Tri-Attack at full sprint gauge into a boosted. It's crazy, crazy powerful. Now, an item that I've had on Dodrio, and I don't think I'd ever take it off Dodrio, is Razor Claw. No matter what build you're running, Dodrio, especially with its, you know, empowered boosteds from its sprint gauge, it feels like Razor Claw is the perfect item for this Pokemon. Whether you're setting up Tri-Attack into a boosted, you're using agility into a boost, like everything is going to reset your Razor Claw and just get you extra bursts of damage when you're moving in. Same thing with Drill Peck. You'll use Drill Peck and then you'll just use that auto right afterwards to make sure you get the extra boost of damage. It's truly, like, I think a fully necessary item for Dodrio. Another fully necessary item for Dodrio is probably going to be an attack weight, right? We haven't talked much about Dodrio scoring, so let's talk about that now. So, scoring with Dodrio, I had to bring out the original three-hatted bird for this one. Scoring with Dodrio works in, you know, little micro kind of dunk phases, right? It will score at the same rate as other Pokemon, but it will score in 3 little bursts right here. So, you've seen that many times. You have to get a full score animation to get a stack of your attack weight or your Eos cookie if you're running an Eos cookie. So even if you have 50 points, right, and you score 2 parts of your animation here, you will not get a stack. I'll show you that right now. You could be scoring, no stack, no stack, and you peel off, you do not get a stack of your items. So it is just like any other Pokemon when it comes to how it gets its stacks. It requires a full scoring animation. Dodrio being able to kind of micro score at times can be a hindrance, but if you know how to play Dodrio, it's actually a huge advantage for your team because you can set up great situations to get massive overcaps for your squad. Unfortunately, unless a goal zone is disabled, Dodrio can never score all of its points in one big go. So it would need Regieleki to walk into it, right? But let's say this goal zone right here. This goal zone is left at 32. But you as Dodrio have more than 32 points. You've got 40 points. You could walk up to it and let just part of your scoring animation go in and keep the goal very low. You're able to peel away from a goal whenever you want for a score. This works with everything. This works with, you know, your Rayquaza score at the end of the game. If you have a Rayquaza shield and you move to this tier 2, you can let 2 of your scores go in and then peel back. Now what you just saw right there is the unfortunate part about Dodrio. When I have 50 in this moment, I can't get a massive overcap like other Pokemon. The only way I'd be able to do that again is if the goal zone was defenseless, and that is something that we can make happen with, again, Regieleki. But other than that, you're not going to be able to get a full score with the bird. The only way to do it again is a fully defenseless goal zone. So Regieleki walks in, I will not score in any, you know, 1, 2, 3 at all. I will do it all in one burst. So that's the time you don't need to worry about how you're scoring with Dodrio. In general, Dodrio's insane speed and how it scores sets it up to put pressure on enemy goal zones better than almost any Pokemon in the game. It's actually one of the few Pokemon that I think you can reliably set up like interesting back cap situations on and not be, you know, super trolly. Dodrio can make its way into a fight pretty easily, even if it's at an enemy goal zone, and it doesn't get punished super hard because the second you see that enemy Lucario or Buzzwole coming up to stop you, you can stop your scoring animation and you still provided some value to the team. And That's why, and you know, on professional teams, you'll see players with Dodrio make this play all the time because it can set you guys up for a nice little lead. If your goals are equal, right? Both of you have your tier 1 goal zones gone. You know, neither team had phenomenal, you know, overcaps. The other team had none. If you're able to just peel off in a fight at some point and even just throw in 30 points into a goal pretty easily, that could be the difference between winning and losing. Now, of course, you don't want to make back-capping plays and stuff like that all the time. You want to do it when there's actual reason to. And you want to make sure that you're not leaving your team because Dodrio fights so incredibly well. So you only really do this when it's a play that's going to put your team up and it doesn't give your team a crazy disadvantage. As far as a battle item, I think full heal is pretty necessary for this Pokemon. You'll often see you can even use it, you know, as you jump in with your Unite move. Because let's say you want to set up a big Drill Peck here, right? If you don't have full heal, you can get situations where you won't even be able to use your moves because of some crazy stun that hits you. So you can move in with this, right? And then some people will full heal right away, right into their Drill Peck, just so nothing immediately stops what you're looking to do. In general, I don't think there's a more necessary item for this Pokemon. Yes, you could play Goal Getter or something like that, but you want to be able to fight and fight well, and that's going to require a full heal on Dodrio for sure. All right, on to held items. For Dodrio, I think there are like maybe 5 or 6 items that are relevant on this Pokemon. Razor Claw, I think, is an absolute necessity regardless of what build you're going to use. It just gives you an insane damage increase. It also, of course, will slow enemy Pokemon with that extra attack. After you use your move and you auto attack the enemy, you just get a big extra burst of damage and a slow. Really nice. Float Stone, great item for this Pokemon. It gives you increased move speed out of combat, which lets you like pressure enemy goal zones, and also it lets you set up things like Drill Peck a little bit easier. It lets you chase down a little better with Tri Attack. You know, if you're kind of trying to get to the enemy Delphox and there's like some good distance there, if you're out of combat in that moment, you will close the distance because you have Float Stone. It also gives you a nice chunk of attack. And then of course, attack weight. This thing scores so easily and it scales pretty well off of its attack stat. It feels kind of criminal not to run an item like this. Float Stone slot is the slot that I think you would often switch something out for. So some options that are good. First off, I'll say you don't auto enough to make Muscle Band that relevant, I wouldn't say. Scope Lens, your boosteds don't crit, so your basics do, but not when they're sprint gauge boosted, so I don't think this is super relevant. Focus Band, you're really squishy. Energy Amplifier, actually, I think is pretty decent if you're running a Drill Peck build. It just gives you a huge burst of damage. You move in with your Unite, Drill Peck, it's a 21% increase or whatever for your damage. So it's a huge Drill Peck that you set up for the enemy team. You also get a little extra cooldown reduction and some Unite move charge. Not bad at all. Another option for this Pokemon is Eos Cookie. This works really well for the Tri-Attack build because more HP means more healing that you're able to get after your Tri-Attack and then your basic attacks following it, right? I think it's a really solid item for that build. Leftovers, EXP Share Assault Vest, Rocky Elm, none of these really work. Weakness Policy, I don't think you really need the extra attack that you gain from it. Rapid Fire Scarf is not relevant. At one point I thought, hey, maybe Drain Crown could be cool, but it just doesn't give you enough, right? You could possibly Curse, but I don't think you need to also. However, it does give you a nice little chunk of attack. I think the next best option is Charging Charm. Charging Charm is not going to let you move around the battlefield as quickly as Float Stone, but it does give you increased burst, and it's pretty reliable, especially on the Tri-Attack build. I feel that when you are outside of combat, this thing is essentially charged all the time. So the next time you move into fight, you're just getting an extra pop of damage that could be pretty relevant towards getting a KO on your opponents. I like this most on the Tri-Attack build, and then I like Float Stone most on the Drill Peck build, but all of the items I listed are really solid. For boost emblems, I run something like this on most of my attack-based Pokemon. 6 brown, 6 white, 2 blue. It gives you a little extra attack, a little extra HP, a little extra crit rate, which isn't that relevant on this Pokemon. You could have a setup that kind of leans a little more into move speed if you want, with a very similar emblem color loadout, which I think would actually be pretty solid. And then from time to time, I also would run something like this. 7 black, 4 brown. So this is going to give you a little extra move speed, a little extra attack, but it's going to focus on cooldown reduction, which is great for Dodrio. Having your moves up is really valuable. And pairing this with an energy amp, so like running this with Drill Peck with an energy amplifier just means your moves are back even faster as you're fighting. And oftentimes with Dodrio, you're going to have a blue buff as well, just because you're probably either in the enemy's central area or in your central area. So I think this is a great setup here for Dodrio if you want to focus on cooldown. All right, so first I'm going to show you a Jump Kick Drill Peck game. This game is a really fantastic match, and then in a second here I'm going to show you a Tri-Attack game. But let's do the Jump Kick Drill Peck first. You're watching this from the toilet. You love living in this decade. There you go. The Toilet King has spoken. Since they ported Smite 2 to all consoles, it's been chaos. If I may, Hydro Surf Blasty. Okay. Hydro Surf Blasty. Will someone please remind me? Because I'm not going to write it down yet. Well, you guys got him. Oh yeah, I'm not stacking. I'm not stacking. Of course, we should be stacking. We're just not. I have 2 of Greninja's clones there. And it's got to be worth something. What? I'm like Neo when he's coding at the beginning of the movie. Listen to his great music and coding. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm coding. Snorlax United off that. Are they hitting? They aren't. going fast to deliver packages. Oh my gosh. Greninja got aggressive. It worked out. Been watching you since 2022. Ever think it'd get here? What would get here? You? I thought you'd get here. I knew you'd be here. Dang. Sets up a great cap for them. I'm asleep. Greninja wanted me dead. Yeah. He got it. He got what he wanted. That Greninja gets what he wants. Nah, he's gonna get that. Can't stop him. I could stop like 40 maybe. Not 20. I pulled him back with the team. Come on back, buddy. Where's Dragon Ball? They got me. They all go down. Worth it. Worth it. Ooh, and he's walking it. Look at the mime. He's walking it. He's got the leash. T-Tar actually can push this in. If I were him, I might even unite here. I don't even think it's that inappropriate. Woo, 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 woo. Look how pretty that is. Hi. GG. GG. Yikes. We get him. We get him. Bang, bang, bang. You don't stack with Dodrio? Normally I do. Yeah. Normally I do. But I have a gold badge now. I'm allowed to play dumb stuff. You don't need to stack. It's not important. It's not important to stack. Okay, you saw the jump kick drill peck. I'm showing you a tri-attack game. This is not the best tri-attack game for Dodrio. I have better tri-attack games I could show you. But this match is... We have EXP share Cinderace in center. Okay? And it goes about exactly how you expect it would go. You need to see it. You need to see it. So I'm putting it as part of this guide. I hope you enjoy it. The more you win, the more you lose. All right. Dodrio. Top path. Cinderace. Kicking it. A little bit. Our EXP share Cinder. This is going to be a game. This is a game of Pokemon Unite. Can't say it's not. It is listed as a game of Pokemon Unite in the database. Three stacks. We got our level 5 thanks to our EXP share Cinder. Thank you for sharing, buddy. Your bizarre build. I'm gonna try to weave in and out and make something happen. I think I'm gonna go center. Or no, Greninja is okay. We got 5 stacks. The bird's here to KO us. It will do that. But we're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. They broke bottom. Bummer. Ooh, let's get him. Okay. Ah! Gotta be careful with that Glaceon. Oof. Weird 1-2 punch from Glaceon right there, or Gardevoir right there. I'm not gonna get it like that. Ooh, almost got Talon. Ooh, got Talon? Good job, buddy. You're gonna have to throw a future sight onto that Regirock. I'm coming. Wow. What a weird turn of events. Dang. Nice try. What a weird match this is. This is one of the weirdest matches. I don't know what's happening, really. Like, my team's top, I guess. Guardy and I are somehow fighting down here. Lasting a weirdly long time against, like, some real, like, odds not stacked in our favor. EXP share Cinderace is not carrying. Sad to say it. Where's our team? What are they doing? Let's get it together, gang. You see all the enemies, don't you? Okay. Where's Cinderace? Did he go down and then come back again? Going top. It's only level 9, but I mean, what do you expect? He's got EXP share, you know? It's gonna be tough for him. He's not doing his center. Just gonna let them do it, I guess. Talon's kind of looking for an in here. Oh boy. Yeah. Icicle Spear will get me. These matches have been very weird. Like the last few matches we've had, these are just like insane games. I think that was a good Guardian, eh? Get anybody? Oh, I got one. Okay. What a wild game. This is like the most solo queue game I've ever seen. Blastoise is there. Not sure where Umbreon went. Goodra's resetting. We gotta wait for Goodra. You can't hit it, Guardy. We gotta find them. Ah, he's back capping. No way! What? That's not the experience share Cinderace that I have grown to know throughout this match. Not in the slightest. Can I get him? Hit. This is the weirdest match ever. How does Cinderace get it? How does Cinderace get it? I can't. This isn't real. This video game's not real. This video game is not real. This video game is not real. This isn't real. My life, nothing is real that's happening around me. This is impossible. This is impossible. No way. No, this isn't real. This isn't real life. That's what you need to understand. This is like, do you guys get what's going on here? I'm telling you, we're not in reality. This is like, this is something else. I don't know what this is. There was a point, okay, where all of us were doing something and then boom, like something complete, like I'm talking nuclear holocaust. We were all on the same plane that crashed. I don't know what it was, okay? But everyone watching right now and everyone who was in this match, we aren't in reality anymore. I'm positive of it. It's gone. It doesn't exist. It simply doesn't exist at this point. Oh my gosh. What an insane game. What an insane... You know what? I was thinking of putting a Dodrio game with this build on my Dodrio guide. I feel like I have to put this game on here just because it is so miserable. And then... I don't even know. I don't even know. I mean... Man. Okay. 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 Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I love you. I'll see you all next time. Long guide.